Hello, and I'm back. So we have got something completely wool unrelated, and I suppose I should have also mentioned earlier that we are working on our sheep swatches. So our flock boxes, of course, you have been used to getting sheep swatches every month. And for the first time in March, we haven't put any sheep into your flock boxes, and that is because I'm trying to change them. So we're getting a new flock basically of sheep, and there's between two at the moment. So I'm trialing out. I'm trialing two different ones. So don't be surprised if it's not consistent over the next month or so as I'm trialing them. But I'm just going to show you. So this is what you had in your flock box in March. So you've had some paper napkin, you've had a little square of cotton canvas which fits to make a little picture out of the wooden frame. You've got a pot of Mod Podge and a wooden needle holder with no needle, and this is basically just a plain curtain ring, but it works really well to make the following. So this is what I'm aiming for. Ignore the picture, I'm not making the picture, I'm just making the picture frame, but I'll show it to you in action. And I'm also covering the single needle holder with the paper. Now you can get carried away and do more things, like for example a multi needle tool, and then this monstrosity of a felting needle, and you can also make it look pretty. And I show you exactly how to do all of this. But as I was talking about sheep swatches, so the sheep swatches we have had in the past, they're made from felt, but it's not a wool felt, it's a synthetic felt. So I'm looking currently at very thick cardboard, which is what this is. So the sheep have slightly gone grey, but I'm also looking at potentially having cutouts made from wood. So both of them are on the cards at the moment. Yes, I've just got this one here. I'm waiting for the others to come through. So yeah, we'll see what happens next month. Let's be surprised. If I haven't told you this and you haven't made the connection, you do need a brush tonight to paint on the Mod Podge, and maybe some baby wipes or a wet cloth so that you can tidy away any excess Mod Podge that might come out. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the chap that is happening here. Dorcas says she's a bit late. Hello everyone. And the running joke is that Anne is actually watching. Anne is watching, and it's just popped up on my screen 3 times in a row. I don't know, it's quite funny when these live streams are happening, how people seem to be watching more than others. Maybe you're watching very intently. Right, I'm going to the overhead camera now, and I'm going to show you what you're doing next. So you will have had this little square of napkin, and you might find it quite easy, but you do have to separate these 2 layers. So this white layer is basically nothing. You can, I don't know, it's probably not even big enough to blow your nose. So maybe put it to one side. So you need just the 1 layer of your napkin. If you're using other napkins, sometimes they come in more than 2 layers. So make sure that you just end up with that top layer. You don't want any other layers. And I'm just going to put the finished bits out of the way. And then you obviously have your needle holder here. So the trick of all of this is really to find the nicest pattern to cover your needle holder with, so you don't just end up with maybe green, unless that's what you want. And also the other thing is to find a good way to keep it whilst it's wet. You need to somehow make sure that needle holder doesn't lie down somewhere. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pop a needle into my needle holder now. Oh, this is going to be awful. I've only got a reverse needle here. So I'm just going to pop a needle in there, and that is when my needle holder is wet, I can hold onto it here and I can still paint with my brush there, and best of all I can stick it in a mat, and it will I can leave it like that then once it's all covered to dry it up. So the idea is that you roughly measure how much you need and cut to size. So like this. Don't worry, you don't need to be very precise. It's all quite, it sort of all fuses together. Then you have to open your little pot with a Mod Podge. Oh my goodness, this one is quite hard to open. Okay, I hope you can manage yours. It's filled all the way, oh this was actually the bottom, filled all the way to the top, and then you decide how you're going to lay out your napkin basically. So I'm going to do it like this. That's it. And then you're just going to start painting. Get some of this Mod Podge on there and put a layer down with your brush and get your, this is how I do it. I haven't watched any tutorials, I've just sort of tried it out and worked it out and played around a bit, and I thought, oh, this will do. So start by putting your paper on there and let it will sort of crinkle up, but what you do now is you actually use the Mod Podge and apply it on the outside as well. So you want it to go on the underneath and you want it to go on top. So just paint it on so that you've got, and don't be stingy with it, you can use lots, so that you cover it all up. Go over the top, and this is why I think it's quite useful to have a needle in that tool. So there we go, some on the outside. You can cover all kinds of things, it doesn't have to be wood. I've seen people covering shells with napkin paper. I think the challenge is always to find the right sort of napkin paper, because you don't want it to be boring, you want it to be quite interesting. And then if you're using something that has got a pattern on it, you want it to sort of like also fit with what you're doing. So you could do all of this with your fingers if you didn't mind getting very messy fingers. So the one thing that can happen is that your paper tears, and again I wouldn't worry about this, or that you have miscalculated the paper and you've actually got a bit too little. I've got quite a lot here and I'm going to cut it a little bit short or off, because I don't want to lose my flower pattern here. I'm just going to cut a bit off there, like that. And this is what I'm using my white off bit for. It can take the bits that I don't want, and then you go over the top. So if you've missed a bit, if you've got a hole, don't worry too much, because you can literally cut off a tiny bit of that same napkin paper and just cover it up. It sort of doesn't matter that the pattern isn't exactly lined up. It will all come right once this is dry. And you can apply one whole layer, and then if you want to, you can apply another layer. So all of this will now completely dry eventually, but make sure you brush it so that all the air gets squished out. And imagine you can make all your wooden handles ever so pretty. Find some nice napkin paper. We don't sell this even though it's in a Try Me product in the box. We don't sell it. We don't sell the Mod Podge either, but these are really easily available products that you can buy anywhere. So right, that's done, and now I'm just gonna leave it, poke it into a mat to dry. And similarly, you're going to do the ring. But with the ring, you actually need to do it bit by bit, because it's really hard to cover a ring evenly. So what I did is I just cut sort of the nicer bits of the napkin. There. Cut into these bits here. So I just cut the flowers out, even though they're a little bit separated now. There and there. So if you want the flowers showing, then just try and get the flowers. And you start in exactly the same way. So the ring will demonstrate a little bit better how you can just cover areas with smaller pieces of paper that don't need to be part of the pattern actually. It's a little bit harder to hold onto it, so you will get sticky fingers at some point. So, and I think there's exactly enough Mod Podge to do both projects and maybe a second coat. Let's pop that on the top and brush it down. So don't worry if it folds a little bit in on itself. That's absolutely fine. When it's doubled up, it doesn't really matter. Just get it to be nice and snug around your wooden or otherwise project. And that's why a brush works quite well, because it sort of squeezes out the air. And then you have to work your way around it. So I'm going to use just that bit of green here. And of course the picture that is here, that's needle felted, that is just so simple. You basically to needle felt your little picture, you draw onto the fabric that's in your flock box the inside of the ring. So draw around with a pencil, draw the inside of the ring. I'm just checking, are the napkins specific? No, they're not specific. They're just normal napkins. The challenge is to find nice patterns, and don't buy too expensive napkins. So the one I've got here, that feels quite papery. It's not specific for Paper Napkin Technique, but I was really looking for some really nice colourful napkins. So I want to say there are probably some really cheap napkins that you can buy at some of these sort of big stores like IKEA and so on. Have a look what you can find. I think it's more the fact that you will want to find the napkin that you like in terms of the pattern, rather than a specific quality. So that is what took me ages, was to find a patterned napkin that I actually liked and that I wanted to have. So, because you often get napkins, they have very few patterns on it, or they're just very boring patterns, like just a few spots, or I don't know. So yes, that is the challenge. So if you look really close now, I've actually missed a bit here. There, that's all wood. So like I said earlier, don't worry too much about just adding something randomly into it. I happen to be a nice bit of pink flower there, so I am going to add that into there, just to cover up the gap I've got here. Not even doing such a good job, I have to add another piece. Some of you have done paper mache, and I think you can get paper similar, but this is not paper, this is tissue paper, this is napkin, so it's a lot softer, it's a lot it's not paper, it is a napkin. Can't actually see now if I've missed a bit. It's almost the same color. I might find it later. I swear I missed a bit here, but anyway, so nearly there. Just a little bit more on that ring. Cut a bit more of the colourful bit off. And just give it a go, just have a little play. I don't think you can go wrong, to be honest. It's just letting it dry, and then it sort of, the cloudiness of the Mod Podge will also disappear. You can get Mod Podge in massive big tubs. It's not very expensive, so you might just find a new way of giving your whole needle felting tools a rejuvenated life. Give it a second lease of life. And yeah, it's just for a bit of fun. It's quite satisfying to transform these shapes. Into something a bit more colorful. You can just go really plain colors. Doesn't have to be colored colors like I'm doing here. I just thought that as it's coming up for spring, having some flowers would be quite nice, and I've just found that gap that I have, so I'm going to add a little bit of flower in there. So you have plenty of the napkin. I'm just going to pop that straight on there. And the weird thing is that you're brushing it from the outside, so you're putting some down on underneath, but mostly you're gluing it on by brushing on the outside. I think there's a little bit missing there as well, but I'm just going to finish off that end now with this bit. So, are the napkins specific or just normal napkins? Just ask. I cover small side tables with old comics. Love doing them as presents to a few special family and friends, and sell some. That's a good idea. So you can actually use it to upcycle furniture as well. I like that. Just plonk that on there. See what I did? I picked up that piece of paper with my brush, and apparently Anna's watching. So I was also wondering that. So just normal napkin paper. I think it needs to be quite thin. That's why you're trying to separate the layers, so you don't have. You need to come down to a single layer. Otherwise, it will lift off. The layers will separate, and then that's not good if you have a layer underneath. I like the curtain hoop frames. I wonder if there's a small square version. Well, I can't say I've seen these square curtain hoops. Well, whatever the equivalent is. We're not calling them hoops, but there must be square shapes, no doubt. Don't know what they would normally be. They won't be curtain hoops, but they might be something else. Right, I'm just going to covering this little bit here that I've seems to have missed. That way around. And then the ring is also done. The glue dries really quickly, and it sets it. It becomes really hard, and I show you. And this the one that we've got here is like a glossy finish. So it does get a bit shiny, though not as shiny as you might imagine. So, right, that's the ring done. And just to show you how it all looks when it's dry, let's pop that there for a minute. So this is the one that I made as an original sample, and you see a lot more detail once it's dry than you see now. And that's the little curtain ring I did. And you basically needle felt into that circle. So draw into your fabric, lay your curtain ring on top, draw on the inside. I don't want to do this now because it's covered in glue, and then stay within that inner circle when you needle felt your little picture. And can be something very simple. Don't overdo it because you've got very busy frame if you're using it. And then you just glue it to the back and cut the excess off. And that's all there is to it to make these little pictures. We've been making these little pictures for ages, but not necessarily with a covered napkin around it. So that's it really. So you've got your ring there, and then the one that I made earlier, which is this one, is coming along nicely. Yeah, it'll look amazing. So that's it really. Short and sweet. Doesn't always have to be something needle felted. It can be relating to needle felting in a very different way. So why not try it and think of things that you could cover with this technique. It works on carton box as well. Ooh, maybe when you get your cardboard sheet, you could cover them in colourful napkins. Anything really, anything that that sort of that you can glue on. Like I said, people do it with shells, wood, paper, carton. Can't think of anything else now. Don't know that it works with plastic, but it certainly works with the more absorbing materials. And just a last check what people are saying here. Oh, and fancy tissue paper works well for this as well. So with tissue paper, the only thing you've got to be mindful of that some tissue paper bleeds. So as soon as it gets wet, the color runs. It could be nice actually if you have different color tissue paper and they run into each other. If you are in the US, Hobby Lobby has lots of seasonal and pretty napkins. There you go. Deborah says, I wonder if you could print onto printable tissue paper a design and then cover a ring or needle holder with it. Print onto printable tissue paper a design. So you can definitely use tissue paper. Let's establish that. I don't know how you print onto tissue paper. I guess you can buy printed tissue paper. But yes, then you could do that. Laura says, love Mod Podge. It comes in luster, glitter and one to stiffen fabric. There you go. Laura says, another Laura, is Mod Podge the same as watered down PVA glue or is it different? I do think it's slightly different, though to be honest, I think you can use watered down PVA glue. Just try it, see what happens. I've asked myself that question. I think it's pretty much the same stuff. Matte or gloss Mod? This is gloss Mod Podge. Debbie says, Mod Podge is a reasonably thick glue, similar to PVA, but I would say thicker rather than watered down. And it basically dries completely clear, and so that's why I'm thinking that PVA glue might be very similar, because that dries also clear. Claudia says, Amber will give it a go, but use older comics as the paper soaks the Mod Podge. Oh, I love Mod Podge. Mod Podge up best. Judy says, I wondered that too, Laura, so I googled it and it is different. It's got a sealant in it too. Ah, okay, so that's where the glossy finish maybe comes from. Very pretty, great idea. Amber says, oh, thanks for the advice. Dawn says, thanks for that, Steffi, great project. Lynn says, thanks, Steffi, what a great idea. Ah, you've just jumped. Now need to get a paintbrush and have a bash. You can use a makeup brush if you've got one. Diane says, really enjoying this, thank you, Steffi. Patricia says, thanks, I really enjoyed this. Caroline says, brilliant idea, Steffi, thanks for showing this technique, never seen it before. Amber says, thanks for the tutorial, excited to give it a go and try the pretty sheep picture to go with it. Julie says, brilliant project, Steffi, really enjoyed this, thank you. And Emily says, thank you, Steffi. And I could now say, oh, it was such a simple thing, but sometimes it's the little things that bring us the most joy. So I'm not going to take that away from you or me, and I'm really, really glad that you enjoyed it all. So take care, all of you. Whatever you're doing for the rest of the evening and the rest of the week, remember what tomorrow is. It is the 1st of the month, say no more, and I will see you very soon. It's actually sooner than you think. But you will probably get sick of me, because I'm going to be laid up for God knows how long with a second foot that has to be operated on, and I am not looking forward to it, though I am looking forward to next year when it's all done and over with and I can walk free of pain and all the rest of it, and get back to my usual self in all ways. So take care, everybody. Always remember, if anybody talks to you in an aggressive way, in a challenging way is never about you. God knows what's happened to them in their life just in that very minute. So show some compassion and take your ego out of it. That's what I tell myself every day, because we have some very lovely customers. We love you all, honestly. Take care, everybody. Bye bye now.